On the cranes, don't have any comment on that specific reporting. I would refer you to the Department of Transportation and the Department of Defense, who've been tasked with Congress to study this particular issue. The National Security Council, in close coordination with the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense, Coast Guard, and members of the Intelligence Committee, have been actively working to address potential cyber vulnerabilities across the marine transportation system. This includes enhanced coordination across the federal government and engagement with key stakeholders in the maritime industry.
That was White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre responding to a startling new report. It's out now. This suggests the Chinese-manufactured cargo cranes are being used by the Chinese government to spy on U.S. military logistics. Wall Street Journal with this report. Could this exacerbate the already strained relationship between the U.S. and China? Let's ask Austin Scott, the Georgia Republican congressman. Congressman, welcome. These allegations by the Wall Street Journal, this reporting, it's been labeled as U.S. paranoia by the Chinese Foreign Ministry, yet they're being taken seriously by the Pentagon. Should the American people be alarmed?
Yeah, it's not paranoia. It's just true. I mean, if Communist China, if their leadership has an ownership interest in anything inside the United States, it's going to be used to spy on American citizens and the American government. And so with cranes, they get to see what's being loaded onto ships, and they know where that is going. And so anyone who thinks that the Chinese Communist Party is a friend of the United States is just simply wrong. And what we need is corporate America to break the ties with Communist China and move more industry out of that country. Eventually, the U.S. dollars that are flowing over there are going to be used to, carry out military actions against the United States. I would suggest to you that the balloon was a military action carried out against the United States. But if the Pentagon is raising this flag, then they're not doing it without justification.
When it comes to that Chinese spy balloon, it made its way across the U.S. before it was eventually shot down. What action is being taken now to address these cranes?
I'm not aware of any action that's being taken. I am glad that it is being publicized, what's being done to America and to our citizens, just as I'm glad that Americans got to see the balloon. Too often, this stuff that the American citizens need to know has been kept behind closed doors. And so I hope that we continue to declassify information with regard to Chinese spying so that corporate America can't continue to turn a blind eye about it. I will tell you, and this is not about Ford Motor Company. I'm a Ford guy. I drive an F-350. But I was shocked that less than 2 weeks after China flew a spy balloon across the continental United States, gathering information on our military installations, that Ford Motor Company announces a partnership with the Communist Chinese Party and one of their subsidiaries to develop battery technology. We as Americans, we cannot continue to pretend that we can do business with China the way business has been done with them in the past, and that it's not going to be used in the future to actually carry out harmful military actions against American citizens and our soldiers.
Staying on China, sir, President Xi Jinping's new foreign minister recently commented on the U.S. adopting a more aggressive foreign policy as it relates to China in recent years, saying this, quote, "The containment and suppression will not make America great. It will not stop the rejuvenation of China." What do you make of this response, and how does this impact the U.S. approach to China?
Yeah, first of all, I think that it's very clear to me that we need to get rid of most favored nations trading with China. We need to encourage American corporations to shift their industries outside of China, preferably back to North America or the Western Hemisphere, where we need the jobs. But you can't ignore the fact that China has been smart about the way they have done this, and they have had a long game, and they have done this over the last several decades. And we as America, under certain administrations, continue to pass more rules to make it harder to mine and manufacture and to do business inside of America. And so this is it's a multifaceted approach in that we need corporate America to stop doing business with China. And we as America have got to get back to mining and manufacturing inside our country. And that means some of the ridiculous rules and regulations that keep getting passed by Democratic administrations and agencies. And candidly, what happens in the courts with some of these ridiculous lawsuits that makes it impossible to do business in the United States, that stuff has got to be reversed, Emma, so that we can get back to building industry and manufacturing and bringing those jobs back to America.
Well, speaking of booming business and finances, President Biden is set to send his budget proposal for the next fiscal year to Congress on Thursday. The proposal is expected to contain a so-called billionaire's tax that the president really has yet to define, as well as a potential increase in corporate taxes. How do you believe this could impact the current economy?
Oh, if it passed, it would destroy the economy. I mean, it's political pandering to the far left. They know that with everything our economy has been through in the last couple of years, we have higher tax revenue today than we've ever had in the history of the country, Emma. And they continue to say that they want higher tax rates on corporations, higher tax rates on successful Americans. And the bottom line is, if you do that, you will starve the economy of the jobs that those corporations and those people produce, and you'll actually have less tax revenue. So it's just pandering to the far left, just like he does on firearms and the border and everything else.
All right, we'll have to leave it right there. We appreciate you coming on today, Georgia Congressman Austin Scott. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Emma.